Well, the lobby tried to fearmonger earlier, and that is something which fell flat on their face. And again, they're resorting to fearmongering continuously on Kashmir narrative and suggesting how there has been a torture, there has been a certain degree of violence on Kashmiris by the centre. Remember, this has been another attempt, rather failure and another desperate attempt by the lobby to set a false narrative on Kashmir, especially post-abrogation of discriminative articles like 35A and 370. They're now back to fear-mongering on Kashmir. They're now back to setting the fake narrative, suggesting that there has been a lot of torture and violence on Kashmiris by the centre. But all that, in fact, stands once again and blatantly exposed. This is coming at a time when Pakistan-backed terrorists killed innocent Kashmiris. Remember, the lobby is now completely silent. We are talking about the incident yesterday in Bijbehara in South Kashmir, where a truck driver was killed by stone pelters, and in Tral, 2 members of the Bakarwal community were also abducted by terrorists. We wonder, why is lobby silent now when these innocent Kashmiris have been killed by terrorists in fact, abducted by terrorists in Tral, and also remember that civilian death yesterday by stone pelters there. Tejinder joining us. Tejinder, very, very strange, but are we really surprised that lobby doesn't have lectures to deliver on this? On civilian killings where terrorists are involved, where stone pelters are involved?
See, Sakal, we have seen that people making hue and cry about various issues, but nobody will utter a single word when innocent civilians are killed by the terrorist or Pakistani proxies. This truck driver, what was his fault? His fault was only that he was going towards his home when at Bijbehara he was attacked by stone pelters. The stone pelters targeted him, and one of the stone, it hit on his head. He was seriously injured. He was first shifted to the local hospital where doctor said that his condition was critical, and then he was shifted to the Sher-e-Kashmir Institute of Medical Sciences in Soura, where doctors declared him broad dead. He was the only bread earner of his family, but killed by stone pelters. Nobody uttered a single word. Yesterday evening at around 7:30, 2 shepherds, 2 Bakarwals, they were abducted by these terrorists, and today morning their bullet-riddled bodies were found in the same area. Nobody again uttered a single word. So clearly it's the hypocrisy of the of those liberals or those who raise so much of hue and cry but never utter a single word when innocent civilians, they are killed by terrorists, they are killed by stone pelters. These 3 people, they were also Kashmiris, they had their families, but they were killed on behest of Pakistan, and because they wanted normalcy in Kashmir, they were doing their routine job. One was driving his truck, he was killed by stone pelters, and these 2 others, they were busy with their rearing their cattle so as to earn the livelihood to sustain their families. But what was their fault? They were abducted by terrorists. These terrorists, they shot them dead in the most gruesome manner. And see, not a single word of condemnation coming from any corner. Even the Congress party, we saw Rahul Gandhi has been actively tweeting about Kashmir. His courtiers, they are raising hue and cry. Even one of his Adhir Ranjan Sen, one of the Congress leader, he went to the extent to say that there is an emergency-like situation in Kashmir. But we haven't heard a single word of condemnation from any of the Congress leader against these three innocent killings of these innocent people. Yes, Sakal.
Yeah, Tejinder, you've covered Kashmir very extensively. Would you say that one thing is very clear now? The lobby, it's an end game for the lobby. Their desperate attempts over this last 1 year, especially, to weave this fake news of human rights violations, trying to fearmonger on army, trying to fearmonger on security apparatus in Kashmir. They try to do it on 35A and 370. But at the end of the day, you have Valley peaceful by and large. There has been no bloodshed, thankfully. But these 4 killings where terrorists and stone pelters, highly criminalized stone pelters, are involved.
See, Sakal, you yourself were in Kashmir for several days, and just 2 odd days ago, you went back to Delhi after covering Kashmir, and you saw how normalcy has been restored in Kashmir Valley. We saw your reportage from various parts of Kashmir Valley. You went to Kupwara, you saw the people. The people there, they want peace. People at ground, they want peace, they want development, and that is what they want. And that is something which Pakistan-based terrorists, they are unable to digest the fact that the people across Kashmir, because Pakistan wanted all the entire Kashmir Valley to come up again in arms against Indian government after Article 370 was abrogated. But
so
nothing
Tejinder,
that
lobby is trying to back those elements which are trying to disrupt normalcy. If you're attacking a truck driver, that means these elements don't want normalcy to prevail in Valley, and lobby is exactly that lobby that doesn't want normalcy to prevail in Valley.
See, Sakal, this lobby, we know they
Former
stand
JNK
exposed.
DG
Even
Khajuria ji joining us on phone line. Tejinder, requesting you to stay with us. Mr. Khajuria, first of all, many thanks, sir, for joining us on Republic TV on this broadcast, on this story, sir. First, your thoughts, please. You think finally this is an end game for the lobby? The way their attempts have failed miserably to weave a fake narrative on Kashmir, and why we haven't heard from the lobby, especially about that civilian death yesterday and those who have been abducted by terrorists in trial reportedly, sir?
I think this kind of killing needs to be condemned by everybody, every sensible person in this country, and particularly those people who are politically oriented and have been critical of various things happening around these days. The killing of the driver and the Hujjat is totally unacceptable, and the lobbies that have been active in condemning other killings or speaking on other issues, criticizing the government. They have a right to criticize the government, but
Yes.
they also have the duty to condemn these, and so that a fair environment in this country prevails, and that the enemy who is trying to divide the nation is attempting.
Khajuria, sir, would you agree that, okay, we will try and go back to Khajuria, but I believe Tejinder is with us on this. Let's try and go back to Tejinder. Well, what we are discussing right now is that lobby's silence in the fact that in last 4 days, 4 innocent Kashmiri civilians have been killed, and in those Pak-sponsored terror. Remember, yesterday, one civilian lost his life in Bijbehara. A truck driver was killed by stone pelters there. He succumbed to his injuries when he was on his way to hospital. Tejinder, I've been told, is live with us on this broadcast. Tejinder, so what is the big picture? The big picture is that lobby, so-called, on Kashmir, they have lost the plot because life is limping back to normalcy in parts of Srinagar, in North and South Kashmir, and they are desperate. They are desperate to make it sure that the peace doesn't prevail, and that is something which is not happening. So hence their reported silence on these 4 killings.
See, Sakal, peace in Kashmir will never suit the agenda of these lobby members. We saw that one of the lobby, this Tukde Tukde gang